Good evening, everybody. I'm Grim Reaper, and with me is now Perry the Pig and Cynical Squid. And tonight we have on our podcast a very special guest, Mr. Pinchingloaf. How you doing, Pinching?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm 27. I live in the wonderful state of Utah. Best state ever. No, it's terrible, but yeah, I've been streaming now for I want to say 5 months. Yeah, because I've been affiliate for 3 months now, so not too long. I'm pretty new to the game, and last Epoch caught my attention pretty quick, and I've been playing it pretty much every single night since then. So yeah.
Awesome. And what has been your favorite thing to play on Last Epoch so far?
I think everyone who's ever jumped in my channel or had me in their channel for more than 10 seconds knows that answer. But I am in love with Static Orb. That is my favorite build. So
Nice. You guys got any questions you want to ask, Perry?
I didn't realize that Lope's only been streaming for 5 months now. I would have thought that you've been streaming for a lot longer than that. I
I'll
think
take that as a
I think
compliment.
that when I tune into Lope, I see like it's not like a humble brag. I think it's just like the humble brag without the brag part. It's just humility, right? So it seems like you've been streaming for a lot longer. I know you deal well with like people in chat, whatnot, and I think you're giving yourself the short end of the stick because I think you do better in front of the camera than you're giving yourself credit for. So I'm
Yeah.
impressed. 5 months, yeah, pretty good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's been a short journey. I've streamed mostly last Epoch since I started. I started out with like Outriders, and that game kind of took a shit out of nowhere. And then I quickly switched over to last Epoch. So that's been most of my streaming has been there. But yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue you'd only been streaming like 5 months. Like I was like watching some of your VODs like earlier, kind of like get a feel for you before we had you on the podcast, and like I would have thought you'd been streaming a lot longer than you're really natural in front of a camera. Like you don't appear nervous or anything that good and that natural. 5 months.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's the psycho in me. I'm just good with talking to myself. So cool. But
All right. So since we've covered your favorite build, I got to ask you this one question. So far that you've been streaming, you haven't done any YouTube work. Do you have any YouTube work that you're going to be putting out anytime soon?
I'm trying very hard to figure out how to edit videos this week. That's been my project, is because I've never touched any of that before. So I'm gonna try before the patch comes out to come out with my first YouTube video, just as a test run. So I'm ready to do stuff once the new patch and new content's available. So we're gonna be trying to do a top 5 like favorite builds from 0.8.2 is kind of my goal.
Nice.
So of new patch coming out, of course, Friday. I'm sure all for. What is your favorite thing that they have announced so far that is coming in?
I just love how Sentinel can't crit anymore. It's gonna be super sick, man. Yeah, no, it's there's a lot of stuff. Obviously, it's what I've been streaming recently, trying to get it ready. They do have a static orb rework coming in, both visually and some of that stuff. I've talked to one of the devs too, just to see if it was going to be okay. I'm like, hey, static orb, what are we looking at? How's it going to feel? And they said all they replied was money. So I got high hopes for that. They said static orb is going to be money. So yeah, that looks really cool. I'm stoked for all the uniques too. That's gonna enable so many more builds. We've only seen a small handful, and I think the last count was 35 plus is what they said.
Yeah, on the video. Yep.
Yeah. So I've got a slew of builds. I'm just ready to start pumping out. So it'll be fun.
What do you think is going to be the first one you try to go with, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, well, it's going to be the theme of this entire podcast, but yeah, Static Orb. Static Orb's going to be first. That one's going to be first. I think probably Lich second. It's been a while since I played Lich, and I've been replaying all my favorite builds to get footage for YouTube, and I forgot how much I loved my Lich. They're so much fun.
Awesome. So what other projects besides that do you have in the pipeline? Besides that, have you planned anything else beyond that, or is that just it for now?
Yeah, so we're gonna try to do YouTube by the end of the week. Obviously, this was big. This is a kind of busy week. We got the patch podcast, trying to get the YouTube video out, and then on patch day 2, we did hit my follow goal of 150 followers. So I'm gonna try to do a charity stream
Oh,
for
nice.
the patch day, just when we have a little more traffic. So it'll be my first time messing with any of that. So I hope it goes really well, but we'll see.
Who's the charity you're going to be doing it for?
I'm going through a couple of them right now. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up doing some kind of like U.S. veterans charity. So
Okay. Well, if you need help with that, let me know. I can actually get you in touch with the guy that runs the Wounded Warrior Project. If that's one of the charities you wouldn't mind doing it for, if you need help with that, I know the guy's contact for you. So,
cool. Yeah, I would love the information. I can take a look at it as well.
all right, not a problem. Perry, you got any questions, sir?
I was trying to think to myself, like, what's the most static orb similar adjacent skill that you could play on Lich? I'm sitting here like, what is your Lich? I don't think I've ever seen you play one. What's your go-to skill there?
I did an like off meta poison lich where I tried not to use the Aura of Decay or what's the wave thing called again?
Death Seal?
Death Seal, yeah, because every single Lich build I see uses one of those two skills, I feel like. So I ended up just doing like Wandering Spirits, Poison with Spirit Plague, and then like an auto cast or auto proc like Hungering Souls that just applies a bunch of poison stacks and gives you increased damage. So something just super memey that was turned out really good.
Man,
Nice.
so I'm currently leveling a Wandering Soul, Spirit Plague, Poison Lich myself, and I consider
Yeah.
it to be super meta. So I think we're just like we're arriving at the same destination, but we got there a different way. It's pretty
Yeah.
fun.
I just wanted to take care or get rid of all the skills everyone forces into it and try to make it my own. But yeah, I'm also terrified of going like low life or hurting myself with the poison. So I think that's also influenced that decision. But yeah.
Oh, you'll be fine. It can't possibly hurt that much, right?
Yeah, right.
Can't possibly. So we have 35 new unique items, 35 plus new unique items coming out, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
So
Yes.
like this comes up every once in a while because like you see a new person pop in a chat, like anyone's chat, and they're like, does this game feel like early access or should I play it right now? And for me, one of the things that really does feel early access about Last Epoch is like there's just not enough stuff. I wish there were more unique items. I wish there were more things. And man, having 35 new unique items where a number of them that we already know about are like build defining end game goals, like excellent things that are going to be not just filler, not just fluff, but things that you're really trying to get as chase items. And like, man, this new patch is really going to breathe like the next step into Last Epoch toward being like that fully fledged game people are looking for. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, no, that's going to be huge. I think a lot of them too are going to be more empowered, mono, high corruption, needed to farm those uniques too, which really helps drive that chase item, like you're saying. So we actually have to push the end game. Whereas before, I felt like I could get 99% of the stuff I wanted in a build before I ever hit empowered monos.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to have a little bit more to push the builds forward on. But yeah.
Sure. Like, I think that's kind of been like my disconnect with the end game is that like right now, unless you're like really trying to get like an Omni or something, there's no real reason to push corruption. I think adding a bunch of uniques into the game that do require that higher corruption actually gives you that now, as opposed to it just being like basically like a show off thing of like, yeah, I hit X amount of corruption, like it didn't get you anything really, but hey, you did it. I guess that's cool. Now having new unique push towards gives you more. Never a bad.
What's been your favorite one that you've looked at so far, Loaf, that's been released to the public?
Probably the same one Perry's looking at. So Salt the Wounds looks really good. I also leveled a Bleed Hammerden that I got inspired from Perry's build, and can't wait for that unique to come out. So
Awesome.
Yes.
What about you, Perry?
Disregard crit. Embrace the ailment builds.
yep.
Crit chance, crit multi. Oh man, if you want more damage, you can build crit multi. And then if you really want to be spicy, you can build more crit multi. It's like it's so boring. No, the ailment stuff. That's the fun stuff. It's lower damage right now. Like if you want to do arena stuff, you care about crit. And if you don't care about arena, then thank God you're allowed to play things that aren't crit. So what I'd like to see is like more justifications not only on like the monolith modifiers, but in other places too. Like more justifications, like using the new unique gloves, Salt the Wound, to go non-crit. It's like, deal. That sounds excellent to me.
What would be your second choice though, Perry? Since that was the same one Loaf had as his first one.
I'm not allowed to have the same. Okay, I have a backup. I have a backup. There's a new set unique item that gives you I guess like it's the set bonus for having both of them. I think it's like a staff and a helmet maybe,
Yep,
but it
you
gives
are
you like
correct.
plus flat lightning damage per point of intelligence, and things that look like Archmage support from Path of Exile, things that look like Righteous Fire, things that look like you can scale offense and defense at the same time just by scaling one stat, are just like they're always something that you want to have on your radar, right? Like that's like a little red flag that pops off like in your developer brain. It's like I can scale one stat and have offense and defense, like dexterity builds, your strength gives you armor. Like there's no skills in the game right now that scale off of vitality, but like if there ever is one, that's where I'm going to be, right? So scaling int, getting some flat lightning damage, it sounds pretty good to me. I like that.
That set looks really juicy. I might toy a little bit with that on my static orb build just to see how the scaling works with it. But yeah, a lightning meteor build sounds really fun too.
I don't even know what static orb looks like. I need to tune into your stream sometime.
It's fun. It's fun. It has good AoE and good single target. It just gets outshined with Ellie Nova since Ellie Nova is just so goddamn good compared to everything else. But it's a solid skill. So
What would lightning orb, or what's it called? Static orb? What would static orb need to be like S tier? Like if you were in charge of whatever's going to happen on Friday, what would you do to it?
that's a good question. It's got a lot of good like explosions on the ground. You can get static charge gain on it. There's a multi-cast node, so you can double cast every cast. It's got a lot of good stuff. I think it suffers the most on the area clear. It's decent, but it's not great. So I think some kind of area synergy just to cover more of the screen would make it compete with Ellie Nova.
I disagree on the clear, sir. I gotta say the area clear is busted on that because if you time where you're putting it at and shoot it right before the mob that you're going to pull, it explodes right before them and you just crap all over them and keep moving, man.
So let me
I think it's a little bit different, man.
let me phrase this differently. So it's like comparing like an Audi, like a really high-end Audi, and you're like, man, this Audi is a great car. It does everything I need. It goes fast. It's a fun car. And then you go race it against a supercar like Ellie Nova, and you're like, wow, Ellie Nova just smokes it. So yeah, it's got good area. It's decent at clear. And it does amazing single target, but it's not Ellie Nova, right? So that's the only like small thing that if I want it to be like S plus tier, if we had a little bit more on that, it would juice it up. So it feels good though, still where it's at now. It's just hard to compare.
Touche, sir. I liked your analogy.
It was actually a really, really good one.
So after this week's up, what do you think you're going to start testing? Because you said you do have a plan in the works for a bleed build with the Paladin, and you're also going to be revisiting the Lich, doing that again, and you're going to do Static Orb. After, I would say, well, actually, it's probably going to be a couple weeks from now. What is going to be after that as far as down the line?
I could name builds all day. I'm so stoked for so many things for this patch. I'm probably going to test my Static Orb character and switch it over to Lightning Meteor just to try it out with the new set. Because that's just a super easy transition. It's very similar building. You wanted a lot of mana stacking to be able to spam meteors and all of that. So that's going to be a super easy transition. I want to use the new melee Lich unique. I forget the name of it, but that one looks really cool. So that's probably the Lich build I'm going to do. Yeah, we've got the Salt the Wounds. That character's already leveled and still alive, so that honestly would probably only take me a couple days to kind of go through that. After that, I want to try to get an Elementalist build going, or like a Shaman Elementalist type stuff with like lightning casting or something. I haven't done a Shaman build yet. That's one of the only subclasses I'm missing. It just doesn't feel like it had the spice there. So I'm hoping one of these new uniques that comes out allows me to play something different than everyone else on Shaman.
Oh, nice.
You know, speaking of Shaman, one of the new unique items that got teased is It's Lone Star McFluffin. His
Mhm.
unique item. It's it's modeled after like some kind of World of Warcraft class, which I don't know about because I never played it. But
Uh,
it's like you gain a buff for lightning damage if you cast a cold skill recently, and then you gain a buff for cold damage if you cast a lightning skill recently.
mhm.
And for his unique item, he put like both like a bunch of flat intelligence and attunement on it. And everybody
Yeah.
kept asking him, like, why is attunement on this? Why is attunement on this? And he's like, listen, like I know we all like mages, and I know nobody likes playing Primalist. But technically, you could use his item. Like that might be something that's interesting for you. Try and like balance those two elements the right way and use that on a Primalist as well.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely looked at that unique, and the first thing that came to my mind was obviously like Ellie Nova just automatically rotates between elements for you. But yeah, I don't think I've ever thought about it on Shaman. You definitely be able to get like the lightning and the cold pretty easily on that. So yeah, that could be interesting. Yeah,
Hmm.
we'll see. I'm gonna spend
Hmm.
the next couple of weeks inside the cave. I'm gonna eat, sleep, and live there, so it's gonna be interesting.
That'll
All right,
definitely be interesting to see.
I've got a topic. I've got a question for all three of you in chat.
Okay.
So just today, I guess a couple hours ago or so, we got a new post from EHG. It was on the forums, it was on Reddit. That's where I saw it. But it's new maces and wand bases that are coming in the Sands of Majasa update. So we have like how many? I think it was like I don't think they gave a number. It's like 10 or so. They're like new wands,
Yeah.
new mace as well. And then we also have all the new axes that were released before this, right? So I guess here's my question for you. When you look at all the new base types that have been introduced to the game, like these different kinds of items that you could just like wield, or in some cases dual wield, did those make you want to play more of the same builds? Do those make you want to play new builds? Like what's going on in your head when you see all those new base types?
I think for me, it's more of the same build because the first thing I saw was a mana wand, and I'm like, oh, cool, that's gonna be easy for me to hit my 300 mana on a mage. Sick. So it's just kind of like an ease of gearing. There's a couple that have like okay synergies with new stuff that might open up newer builds, but I'm not too sure yet on where I would use those.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat with that one where I haven't seen a base yet that makes me here's a cool new build idea I can do. I've seen like a couple of the axes because y'all know I play more than is healthy for being. Like I've seen a couple of the axes where I'm like, ooh, I might try this and see what happens, with some damage numbers for like the Sentinel builds I already have. But I think the bases aren't really gonna make me want to build something new. But I know there's gonna be some unique where I'm gonna line a text on it and be like, wait, it does what to that skill? Oh, yo, let's go despecialize. We got to go pick something new. It's time.
I don't know, man. I think some of the new axes that are coming out might make a few changes to some classes and make them a little bit stronger than what they've been in the past. Like I think Primalist is probably going to be a little sleeper OP with some of the new axes, and I'm actually going to try a Primalist this patch. I have been wholeheartedly against Primalist since I started playing this game. I played a Primalist one time and I absolutely hated it. But to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing at the time at all. Like this was back before I even asked Rhyme how to play half the crap in the game, and before I found Rhyme Gaming, whenever he used to put YouTube videos up and build guides. After I found that, I was like, oh, I don't want to play that. I'm gonna go try this class. I'm gonna go try this out. So for me, I think some classes are going to be a little sleeper OP. There might be a few new builds and classes that people think are underpowered that might emerge a little bit stronger. They might not be S tier, but they might go from being like a D or C to like an A tier build, and then get boosted even further once 8.4 comes out. So
Nice, I like it. So there's actually there's two in particular that I want to talk about. And I actually I tried to post this link in Twitch chat and I got timed out by your robot. So
okay.
oh well, sorry Twitch chat. But on the new maces that just got released today, there's two that I want to call out. One is the Rune Hammer, and I think it's the first base type we've seen. It's a level 78 base, and it says +1 to lightning skills on it,
I did see
which
that.
is huge. This is the first time we've seen +1 on like a base item itself, right? And like I don't know what to do with it because I've never used like a mace. I've never used a one-handed blunt weapon in a build. Like I've used scepters, it's like a spellcaster scepter, even a melee scepter. Like what do you do with a mace? So I don't know. I guess I gotta explore this one.
Might be good for a conversion build too.
That's what I was
If there
about to
was-
say. If there's like a skill that damage converts into lightning, all of a sudden that mace might actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
you mean like
imagine
a
a
me-
mage
like
carrying
a like a melee skill that converts damage to lightning?
Like swipe can go to lightning, can't it?
Does swipe
think it
convert
can.
the base damage from your weapon to lightning?
I
I
don't
think
know.
it converts the whole entire skill to where all damage sources convert to lightning. So it turns the skill into lightning. It should give it the lightning tag whenever you look at the tag on the skill afterwards, if it converts the damage.
I think what he's asking is like the physical damage on the weapon. I think he's asking if
that's
that
my
converts.
question.
Yeah. Okay. I'm pulling it up right now, but
I don't think it does, unfortunately. There's so few skills that actually convert the base damage of a weapon to something else. So like Harvest does this. It's like Lich Harvest, you can convert all added damage into necrotic damage. And then Detonating Arrow also does this, where it converts all added lightning damage into lightning. And then if you click on one of the conversion
Yeah.
nodes in Detonating Arrow, it does the same thing. But
Yeah.
like those are the exceptions. Those are very far from being a rule. It's like nothing does this. It's kind of
That makes me getting rework stuff that. Why does that seem like an odd item to?
Let me tell you my other base item. This is oh shoot, let me scroll. It's a one-handed blunt weapon. It's called the Solarum hammer. And it's got plus 60 melee physical damage. It's got stun chance, and then it has fire penetration on it. And so you have all this flat physical damage that's on your one-handed mace. You're presumably going to hit somebody with it, I think. But then
Yeah.
like you have fire penetration. And like fire penetration would be good if you could convert all of your damage into fire damage.
you might be onto something. They might be
I don't know.
dropping some hints here.
They might be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm saying-
That's something that's been on my mind ever since I saw these new base items that were released.
Yeah.
Like, that's something to
I'm
consider
thinking
too. Is
Forge World.
that they could just be setting up for future matches. These bases are already done. Let's see what people come up with in the meantime. Then, like, there ends up being another skill later. Where, oh, this is what that makes. This is what.
I could see that
Paladin,
happening.
though. Paladin has a lot of fire synergy, and they're kind of redoing
Mhm.
all those trees. So
That's very true.
I was
That's a
thinking
good
Forge
point.
Guard in
Okay.
my head. So
yeah, Forge Guard too. Yeah.
yeah. That's the first thing that popped in my head was Forge Guard. So immediately, as soon as he mentioned 4% pen, I thought Forge Guard. Or also, you could do a melee mage too. Maybe there's a conversion in mage that's going to come out that's going to make it to where it does fire melee. Or do they already have something that makes it fire melee for like mana strike or something right now? Are any of those skills getting
Those-
reworked, or did they announce those? If
Hopefully,
any of those are getting
I think there's. I've only played.
Bloodblade's interesting. Yeah. You got to play that very unique play style to stay alive in hardcore. So
Yeah, it's
Yes.
really, really, really hard to play Spellblade and mages when you don't have focus, isn't it?
Yeah, that was
that's a good one.
that was very true because like I was like messing with build plans, in build planner before the tournament. It was like, wait a minute, I'm clicking focus way too much, and I can't click focus for. Oh no.
Whoever banned that's probably an asshole. So
Why did you do it, love? Focus.
I just wanted different play styles, and I feel like that's the scapegoat for everyone. They're like, oh, I have mana issues. Let me just slap focus on there, and they magically all disappear. And we got some like ranged mana strike users and stuff in the tournament. It was cool. It was cool seeing different stuff. But yeah,
Sounds like you got a lot of hate on that ban.
especially Zekker. Zekker became a trusted follower after that, just so he could watch me die after I banned his focus. So
Oh man, that's tough.
I'm excited for those Vision GL races to start up again.
Ooh, it's gonna be
I was
so
thinking like
interesting.
I was kind of thinking like maybe I'm not going to be into this. Maybe I won't enjoy it because like it's an arena thing and I don't really do too much arena. But it's been a good change of pace. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think that's going to force a lot of these new builds right after the patch is when we get the tournament going and people are starting to get competitive and really min-maxing. I think we're going to see a lot of the new builds come out from that.
So with the Vision GL tournaments, though, are you going to play softcore or hardcore in them, or are you going to play both softcore and hardcore?
I think me and Perry are in similar boats with this because we mainly play hardcore, where softcore just it doesn't feel like as competitive. Where it's more who can put in the most hours during that stretch of time and have the highest level, and they're probably gonna win. I might do the first couple just because it's the new patch and there's so many new things that I just want to try anyways. Give me an excuse to try some of the stuff that might have been harder to build in hardcore during the tournament. So that's probably where I'd be.
So same with you, Perry, on that subject as well, huh?
Oh,
Hardcore
totally
only.
agree. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I think for me it's gonna be like a nice like a balancing act of like what I'm spending my time on. So if I do like the Vision GL tournament every single weekend, that means that I've got like 3 or 4 days of the tournament itself, and then I've got 3 or 4 days where it's like my own time. And it's like that's like 50-50. Like all my stream content is gonna be this thing, and it's hard for me to work on my own build, for like whatever YouTube content or like whatever viewer submitted build or what have you at that point. So if I take a break and if I only do the hardcore tournaments, for example, then it gives me a lot more time to just like progress my own stuff, do my own thing. And then when the hardcore Vision weekend tournaments come up, I'll just do those. So yeah, I'm with Loaf on that.
What about you, Cynical?
I'm pretty much in the same boat with them. I don't dislike the softcore tournaments. I think they're fine. I do think the softcore tournaments, due to like the limited nature of them, kind of like I think they incentivize you like ignoring things in your build that you probably wouldn't ignore if it was a hardcore tournament. Because why take defenses when you just get bigger numbers, basically? Because who cares if you die 700 times? You got to arena wave 375. You died 400 times, but that doesn't matter. You got to 375.
Well, if you die in the arena, you get kicked out. Like there's still like a pseudo hardcore element there.
Sure, that's true. That's true. But the leveling process does not have.
I completely agree. Totally agree.
Yeah, the leveling process doesn't have someone recreate a new character within 30 seconds in the Discord channel.
I die one time at level 3, and no one ever lets
Did you die? Oh man, I didn't know that.
Oh man,
that's good. That's okay. I died 3 times on the Rogue tournament, so that was a rough one for me. Just that 1 to 40, having dodge as your main defensive mechanic is so hard.
Perry, wasn't that looking at something for somebody too? You would like switch screens to look for something on YouTube.
Yeah, yup, totally. Yeah, it wasn't my fault at all. I was, Twitch chat had an emergency. I had to help them. Yeah, it was not my fault. So this is funny that we're talking about the Rogue tournament. My mouse, I've been complaining about my computer mouse all day today. I think I messed up my computer mouse specifically with that Rogue tournament because I was like microing so much and I was like kiting every single monster pretending like I'm an 80 carry in League of Legends. I think I clicked my mouse so much during that tournament that I caused it to have this double clicking issue. So now I gotta go buy a new mouse. It's nonsense.
That's funny. Yeah, there was a ridiculous amount of kiting in that tournament. My wrist was killing me by the end of that.
I didn't play in that one. I think that was the one where it was like it came out and I signed up for it, and then like a day into it, I was just like, nah, I'm not feeling it. I need a little bit of a break. I've been playing tournament after tournament, and I'm getting a little bit burnt out. I think I'm going to step away from this one and just relax. So I decided to bow out of the tournament for that week. Did you play in that one, Cynical?
Yeah, I think that Rogue tournament was the one where I went out of town to visit like my brother and sister-in-law.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think I clicked into like somebody's stream that was in the tournament, and like it was like a smaller stream that had like 4 or 5 viewers. And, like I just heard like the furious clicking as they're kiting away from stuff, and I was like, yep, I'm kind of glad I'm not at my house right now because yeah, this feels miserable. I would hate this. I like
Perry
to.
got a good amount of content out of that tournament though. I was an hour and a half late to my stream when he did his final push because it was very intense the last 100 waves he did. So I kept thinking he was gonna die over and over, and somehow he would just barely squeak by every time. And you ended up getting like second in that tournament, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No clue. Just I I don't know. The arena stuff, it's I don't know. It's kind of fun. So I what I thought was going to be the case with these arena tournaments, it's a race, but there's no ending point of it, right? So like from a viewer perspective, if you're somebody like watching in Twitch chat, if you're watching a VOD or something, you don't get to watch like the end of a race, right? Like normally, if you're racing to a boss, if you're racing to Shade of Aerobus, if you're racing to, whoever gets to this thing first wins. Like that, you can watch the exciting conclusion. You can watch like both these people are making progress at the same time, right? But if it's only just like who can get to the higher thing by the end of this time period, you don't necessarily have the same like immediacy of when this race is going to be reaching its climax, when it's going to be over, right? So I thought that was going to be the case. But having it being hardcore and having like, you know, taking breaks between waves because you need to catch your breath because your heart's palpitating, like that is kind of fun. I do like the hardcore aspect of it, of how exciting it is to watch somebody just not die for 50 waves, even though I thought I was going to die 100 waves ago. Yeah, I like it.
Well, for me, I get the adrenaline rush when I do play in the hardcore tournaments, so I know what you're talking about on that. But for me, the thing I hate about that too is like I start sweating so profusely that like by the time I get up to like wave 80, my shirt is like soaked. Nobody can see it because it's down below like the waist section. But like my whole shirt will be soaked, and my girl will come out and she'll be like watching me whenever I take a break. She'll be looking at me. She'll be like, "Why are your legs so sweaty right now? What have you been doing? You just sit there playing games. Why are you sweating so much?" I have to explain to her, "Babe, it's hard for you to understand, but it's a hardcore tournament, so I'm stressing out right now, trying to keep myself alive. I am trying to tap into ultra instincts and dodge every single thing that comes my way right now."
Like, hey, babe, you don't understand. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
still half the time in those.
That's pretty much where I'm at. Like, cause like my wife will be like standing behind me watching me like play through some of it sometimes. She'll be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I have no clue, honestly. Okay, I'm running around just hoping I don't die. That's it. That's my strategy. I got nothing else after that."
Just gotta cue the Benny Hill theme song whenever I'm playing hardcore, because that's what it looks like. You see like whole entire screens of mobs chasing after me, and I'm like, trying to get away, man. Just running, kiting, and that's been that way for just about every single one of my hardcore experiences. I haven't had one where it's been like playing a build where I know I'm just going to absolutely destroy stuff. Like every single hardcore tournament, there has been something banned. Like I have like planned my builds before a hardcore tournament, and it'll be before they announce bans, and then they'll announce bans, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, no! They just completely shredded my entire build idea. Like my build idea, it got picked up and it got put in the dumpster basket right away."
Perfect though. That's the ideal. I wish that experience happened to everybody. I wish everybody had a pre-planned build that got tossed in the dumpster when the bands came out.
Dude,
That's exactly what I want.
They did
last time.
They did the Sentinel. They did the Sentinel hardcore tournament, and I was like, "Finally, my time has come." And they were like, "Warpath's banned," and I was like, "Oh, my time has passed."
It's just a very brief period of time.
It was very, very brief.
What about you, Pinching? Have you ever had that experience?
You get used to like the regular hardcore play, I feel like, for most builds, but the tournaments, man, I have like a thing where every 10 waves I do a palm swipe where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm just sweating so much on my palms. I'm like, all right, let's keep going.
So have you guys also seen lately the other video that they put out, the gameplay preview? Have you guys seen that yet?
Oh, this was from 2 or 3 days ago, right?
You're talking about like the 45-second teaser?
Oh, yeah.
It's spectacular 25-second teaser. Just out of this world. I have an opinion that I would like to voice here. So, like you all know, like I've spent a lot of time playing Path of Exile and like been a member of the Path of Exile community up until very recently.
Mhm.
It whenever when I see a teaser that's 20 seconds long, I'm like, good, like looks good, enemies look cool, abilities look cool, can't wait to play. But like there have been so many instances in Path of Exile where just like a 17-second teaser will come out and the community just like jumps on it and starts releasing 45-minute long analysis videos. Every single thing that we've learned from looking at the background of what's in this guy's teeth. It's like it's cool. I get it's you have to make YouTube videos, I guess. Like I don't like that personally. If you all want to make some analysis videos on your 17-second teasers, please do it. I'll make fun of you, but you know I want you to do it. It's not my thing. It's just not my thing.
My opinion was basically that looks really cool, but it's not Friday yet, so okay, it looked cool.
Now that Loaf is getting into YouTube, he'll be like our go-to guy for making the analysis 45-minute videos.
Only if you watch me in like 1/4 the speed.
I will watch you at 2 times speed, like I watch every single video on YouTube.
Well, except Dread, you know.
I'll like and subscribe right now. I got you.
Thank you.
So I see I've got my Twitch chat pulled up for this channel right now, and I see that my wife is talking about how she ignores me whenever I'm streaming, even when I'm dying and wiping my sweaty palms on my shirt. So just recently, I know Loaf was talking about his girlfriend who he's finally comfortable enough in his Twitch career to admit that he has a girlfriend and admit that she's also in Twitch chat. So you didn't forget your anniversary, which I'm very proud of you. It's very good.
Thank you.
How has that been going? Like carving out time for like having like a significant other and like also wanting to spend a significant amount of time on Twitch.
Yeah, it's actually harder than I thought it would be. I don't think that people realize how much work actually goes into streaming. I think most people see it as like, oh, you play video games, all day, great. Where it takes out a large chunk of your day. When you're not streaming, you're doing a billion other things for your stream. And so it's been harder than I thought it would be. We don't live together either, so it's a little bit different too, where we have to travel to go see each other. She only lives like 15-20 minutes away, but still it's like, okay, I need to be back home by this amount so I can start prepping everything for stream and get this going, and that can be a little taxing when it's every single day, right? But she's been really supportive about it, and she's known about me streaming. She just felt a little weird trying to come into my stream because she's not from the Twitch world. And so I think that was a little bit more of a culture shock for her, getting used to being there in chat and trying to type and stuff. But yeah,
you stream on Twitch. That's the website with all the hot tubs, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That website, sure.
Mhm.
The high tub meta.
My wife watched my Twitch chat one time and was like, "Why are they all so nice to you?" I was like, "I honestly have no clue because she's not." So
Wait.
our entire love language, my wife and I's entire love language is just us talking absolute trash to each other all day long. Like my friends are like, "Are you guys getting a divorce or something?" And I was like, "No, we love each other very, very much. We just don't like admitting it."
That's crazy, man. Your Twitch chat's nice to you. I wonder what that's
For the
like.
most part, Grim can attest. For the most part, they're pretty nice to me, unless I do something really stupid, which honestly happens somewhat regularly.
That's good. Mine's like 50-50. The people who have watched me since like towards the beginning, I feel like they just shit on me the entire time. But
Yeah. No, like my mod team, my mods, they shit on me all the time. The actual viewers are cool though. They're pretty nice to me.
What is a mod for if not to just throw you in the trash can?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They got to keep me humble. That's what it is.
I'm hardly ever in there to mod your stream, but whenever I am, I'm not trash talking you. That's the other mods. Don't bring me into this.
You're busy doing other stuff most of it.
Busy actually modding. instead of trash talking, taking care of those viewer requests that pop up in the
Good
mod
God.
chat. What about you,
Oh.
Loaf? Have you ever done modding at all?
Right before I started streaming, I started modding for a buddy of mine that played Outriders. And so I met a lot of my kind of core community that I had to start streaming with from there. So a lot of them came from his stream. At one point, my Twitch that tells you where all your audience from, it was like 85% the same as my buddy who I modded from. So I dabbled a little bit in that side of it before I actually started streaming. So yeah.
Nice. What about you, Perry? You've modded in a channel before, haven't you? Or you are a mod, you just might not have ever modded.
What does modding really mean? So I guess what I ask my mods to do is about the same amount that other people have asked me to do whenever I mod for them. Like a mod is there to like set the tone of the stream. Like if you want everyone to just like make fun of you, get a mod who makes fun of you, and then anyone who's new to the stream, when they come in, they'll see the mod making fun of you, and then be like, "Oh, this is a stream where we get to make fun of the streamer," and then you do that, right? So like if you want chat to be like a wholesome place, get a mod who's a wholesome person, and then when people come in, they'll see the mod being wholesome, and then they'll be wholesome. Kind of sets the tone for stuff, right? So like I've done that. The bare minimum, I've done that. So then I ask my mods to just like give a shout out command whenever there's a host or something in chat, or like when I start talking about YouTube, like link my YouTube, or like if I reference some video that somebody else did, like, hey, would you go out and link that for me? Yeah, thanks. So like, what does a mod really do at the bare minimum, I guess? Like, yeah, sure, I've done that. Great.
And what about you, Cynical?
Yeah, I mod in a couple of channels. Actual like real life friends. What Perry was just saying is pretty much exactly what. If I enter corporate shill mode and mention the Built Bar sponsor, please hit the Built Bar command. That's all I ask of you. If I mention that we're going to be doing something in Discord later, Discord command, please. And that's it. And like, to be fair, like I said, Grim, you're always doing stuff for the most part. But like the other like mods that I have that show up for stream, are really good about doing.
Yeah,
I've been very fortunate to like honestly not. I think outside of bots, I want to become famous jackasses. Outside of them, I think I've only ever actually banned like 3.
Wait. I want to be famous. How do you do that?
There's a link.
just DM me later, okay?
I got you.
well, I got a funny story about this. So my girlfriend actually watches Twitch with me sometimes whenever we're watching other people stream and we're like eating dinner together, we're having lunch. And today she happened to be looking and she noticed I was in 3 different people's streams, all with mod view up. And she was like, "How many channels are you a mod in?" And I'm like, "Just about every single big last Epoch player's channel. Just about." I'd say about a good 70% of them. There's a few I'm not a mod in, which I'm fine with. And from what you said, Pinchingloaf, kind of seems like the whole way you got into streaming was through modding in a way, as far as like getting more comfortable with it. Was that a good assessment of that statement there?
A lot of it. My buddy from Outriders, he was a very charismatic streamer, and I just love the interaction that I got to see him create constantly with his community. That was the first streamer that I felt like had a super solid connection, because a lot of the big streamers, you don't really see as much connection with their communities as you do with like a medium sized or smaller streamer. And so with me modding for him, I felt like I had a responsibility to be there more, right? And so I just had to a lot more exposure to that kind of environment. And I was like, hey, you know what? I would love to create that. I game so much anyways. Just adding that extra aspect and meeting all these new people and something that I really enjoy sounds like a cool idea. So in a way, I guess you could say that, yeah.
So where's your music choice come from? Because you play a lot softer music than what I play on my stream. Because I play some heavy metal stuff.
Yeah, no. I get too distracted if I have anything with like a bunch of vocals or anything like that. So I typically just listen to like lo-fi beats. There's a couple of like YouTube streamers that will just do like 24/7 lo-fi beat streams, so I never have to worry about it going over to some DMCA thing or anything like that. I know it's going to be 24/7. It's always going to be playing new stuff for me. So that's typically what I do right now. I am kind of excited though. One of my girlfriend's really close friends does a lot of music creation, and he has offered to start like writing some different music for my stream, so I can have stuff that's a little bit on the unique side and not the same 100 lo-fi tracks that everyone plays on their stream. So hopefully in the future, within a couple months, I'll have a little bit more diversity with that. But
You know what I just realized I want right now when you say that?
what's that?
I would love like a YouTube channel with like DMCA free stuff that is like the lo-fi girl, like you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the lo-fi channel, but with like trance music. That
Yeah, that'd be
that
cool.
is exactly what I want. I might go look that up right
I would
now.
say
I
it
told-
probably
that's the
exists.
channel I want.
There probably
I've-
is one. Yeah.
I have found a bunch of different typing stuff. Like I found there was like a synth on one time, 80s nostalgia.
Yeah, but I'm not from the 80s. I don't want that. Come on, get out of here.
But yeah, I'm sure it exists. I would be shocked if it.
Mhm.
I would like to
DMCA,
find.
DMCA is such a mess. Oh, I absolutely hate it.
It is. It's but because like that was kind of like a big thing with my stream for the longest time. Like I listened to like a lot of music on my. When we had Heavy on podcast, Grim can attest to this. Heavy and I basically talked about music for like 30 minutes after the podcast ended. And like I always listen to like, and I don't do this to like make myself sound cool. But like I've always been like really into like obscure like underground like hard bands and stuff. So like I would always be playing music on my stream of like unknown bands, trying to like expose people like stuff they've probably never heard before. And then DMCA was just like, yeah, don't do that. By the way, I kind of miss being able to do that.
I want to find some good dubstep. I like dubstep, but I like it. I don't know what style it would be called, but I know you guys know Lizard IRL. I've been in his stream a couple times where he has that real hard. Sometimes you just want something like that when you're like, yeah, you bust out the glow sticks, the pacifiers, the Vicks Vapor Rub, and you have fun in the arena. That's what I want for doing arena pushes, and he has that music going in his. So I need to find out where he's getting it from because I want that for whenever I'm doing arena pushes. Because I'm sorry, Doom makes me get too aggressive, and then I get too close to stuff, and I make mistakes, and then I get whacked for it, especially in hardcore. So Doom gets me a little too pumped up. Whereas with the dubstep, I think I'd be a little bit calmer because then it would be like getting into a rhythm. It feels more like rhythmic dancing for moving away from stuff instead of just charging in there and getting slapped for it.
Sometimes you just got to cat jam. It's,
Not trying to though.
Yeah, I tried dubstep before in like some of the earlier streams, but I feel like with the hours I stream, it scared people more away. Where I'm more of a sleep stream. People come over from Perry's, and after they leave all those exciting streams, and then they just fall asleep in my channel, and then I get to steal the views. So that's why the lo-fi works really good for me. It keeps them all asleep.
Before I started
You
streaming,
finally discovered why people are so quiet in your chat.
Yeah. No, I heard about that recently. I'm like, everyone just comes in and falls asleep, and then no one talks, and I still get the views, so it's all right.
hey, yeah, I was saying,
I
look,
don't know
the numbers are the
what you're
numbers.
going for, but it's the vibe you have. So
Yeah.
if you don't want
take
that,
it.
you gotta turn the music up.
I'll be honest, I've done that. I've gone to sleep while watching Perry's stream. And then whenever I've woken up, no, it's not because you're boring, Perry. It's because I've been tired. Like whenever I've had those days where I've been up for like 36 hours straight and I just need to crash. And I'll be like watching Perry's stream. And then all of a sudden I'll start getting tired. I'll fall asleep. I'll wake up and it'll be on quiet for me. I'm like, how did I get to quiet for me? So obviously there's been some people passing it on down the chain within the last Epoch community.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I've got my next conversation starter written on the back of my wrist here. This is a question that somebody asked me earlier today, and I know my answer for Path of Exile, but I don't have like a go-to answer for Last Epoch. So here it is. Loaf, if you had like a unique item that you could introduce into the game, we have unique items coming from Quiet, from McFluffin coming in on Friday to patch 8.3. What kind of unique item would you try to introduce into Last Epoch if you had like $1,000 to spend on it?
Yeah, that's a good question. We were actually talking about that in my stream a few days ago when all the announcements were coming out with all the content creators' uniques, and so everyone in chat was kind of throwing out their ideas. I think kind of the first thing to look at is what is the main purpose of a unique, and that's to be build defining, something that changes the way you currently play the game and play it a different way. So I don't like a lot of the ones that are just like here's percent increased damage of this, or lightning. Even if +1 skills, it feels like it's more of a cop out for it. So it's kind of hard to say. I really like the ones that take stats that you wouldn't typically grab on a certain character, and they change them to completely new interactions. So probably because we have like the crit multi with bleeds and stuff like that, which is cool. So you're building a character a different way. I'd probably grab one of more of like the status afflicts, like maybe shock or something like that, and grab it. So if you're grabbing a bunch of shock, it transforms into something different or converts it over to something different. Maybe it's like increase like poison chance, or maybe I don't even know. I'm having a brain fart right now. But I like the conversions where you're building stats differently for the characters you never would have thought of going down that route.
Love it. Total, yeah.
Not super specific.
If you got
but
$1,000 and you're gonna introduce that unique item, I'm on board. I like it.
yeah, I don't know, but just something different. Yeah, I don't know. I want to play the game how I didn't play it yesterday.
It's a good soundbite. I like that.
I love that. That comment was. You're completely right though with like how unique. If it's just like a bow unique that just gives like +1 to detonating arrow and something else, and it's like, okay, cool. Well, I was already taking detonating arrow. Not really that. But if you put something else on bow where it's like, oh, I would never play that skill with. Now I'm playing the game in a different way, and I'm learning something as well as playing.
Yeah.
I've given that idea a lot of thought as far as what I would want to have in the game, and I would definitely want to make an item for specifically the Reaper form for Lich, to where you could actually summon all the minions of the Necromancer as well, so you get all access to it without having to put the skill points into the Necromancer tree. Like summon Abomination with Lich just to spice it up a little bit, and have maybe another stat on it that would say, whatever stat and modifiers you get in Reaper form apply to your minions as well, so that you could do a Reaper minion build like that. I think that would be an interesting thing to have something introduced in the game that allows you to have different skills that you're not spec'd for, or put points into a skill tree, unlock that for you.
Speaking of which, actually, one of my viewers in my chat when we were talking about that had a similar idea, where typically you can only go halfway on the skill tree of whatever you're not spec'd into, right? But maybe having like an item that would give you like allocates this passive, similar to kind of like how enchants work in PoE, but maybe being able to go farther into the tree you're not spec'd into and grab even a single point of a node, or even if it's only 1 or 2 points, that could be kind of build defining too if you're able to grab some of that stuff you're normally missing.
Oh, kind of like an anoint on an amulet in Path of Exile?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
enchantments,
okay.
yeah.
Ooh, I kind of like it.
I was saying that would be really cool, actually. I like this.
But I'm thinking of it as a chess piece, because it's going to be, part of the build as far as like build defining for it. So being a main piece, because your amulet, I never would want it to be an amulet, because I always like to have penetration on my amulets. Like that's one thing I always try to go for, is having, either a nice, good exalted that's got the penetration I'm looking for on it, or just, gambling for that good rare until I get that tier 5 penetration on it for whatever I'm looking for.
I think I want every one of my uniques to be gloves, because gloves are absolutely trash in this game if they're not a unique.
So boring.
Yeah. Same thing on every single build practically, it feels like. So yeah.
Yeah, I had a Path of Exile player in chat the other night, and they were saying like, hey, every pair of gloves that you make for your characters look the same. Like all your gloves look the same, all your boots look the same. This game's boring. And it's like, well, you really called out like the two scenarios of like the most boring pieces of gear. Because like what is it? Your helmet, your body armor, and your relic. Is that it? Those are
Mhm.
all class specific. So like you
Yeah.
get really interesting modifiers on those three pieces of gear that are like skill specific, class specific, mastery specific, all this cool stuff. But like your gloves are like attack speed, life, 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 life. Or like cast speed, life, life, life. Damage over time, life, 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 life. And it's like, ooh, okay, I guess it's kind of boring, but there's only like 10 modifiers. There's really not that much. Yeah, I
There
would
isn't
like
any
to see
crazy
maybe
simplicity
more
either.
uniques, or maybe just like more modifiers. Like that's definitely one of the parts of Last Epoch that feels like it's in early access. There's just not enough modifiers on gloves. I want a few more in there. Some kind of opportunity cost.
Completely agree.
There is one modifier that you can only get on, the gloves, the belt, and the boots, and that's the hybrid life mod, which goes on all three of those. But also, I learned this from talking to Heavy. Your boots is one of your pieces that can get better defensive stats on it. Like whenever he does his builds, he doesn't take the hybrid life. He usually goes for like the higher armor stat that you can get on it, or the higher dodge stat that you can get on boots. I think it's also the belt, if I'm not mistaken, can also get better defense stats too, a little bit better as far as like the percentage ratios on them than some of the other pieces of gear. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, guys.
I would love to give a shout out. No, you're right. You're right. I would love to give a shout out to somebody who's not here right now, who just released a video that was like 10 out of 10. It's like maybe there's somebody in chat who like wants to know how to step up your game in Last Epoch, or maybe you're me who also wants to step up your game in Last Epoch. So Lizard IRL, I know he was on this podcast a couple weeks ago. He just released a video a couple days ago talking about gearing and specifically talking about suffixes on all of your gear. So talking about like what suffixes should you get on your helmet, your belt, your gloves, and your boots, so that you can make the most of those slots there. Like don't get resistances here, you'd rather get them somewhere else. Get life here because you don't want to get it somewhere else. Like that kind of thing. It's like a really short video. It's like maybe 10 minutes long or so. But I think Lizard did a really good job of prioritizing like, hey, like you can get hybrid life here, so you should get hybrid life here, and kind of boiling it down like that.
Interesting.
You know me, I'm always down to promote anything.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, so that's going to do it for us tonight on last week of Epoch. I'd like to thank Pinchingloaf here for being our guest tonight, and Perry the Pig for joining our cast. He's going to be a permanent cast member now on here. And from all of us here at Last Week of Epoch, thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great night, and we'll catch you in the next one.